Early with America's Mayor Live because at 8 o'clock we start to get the results. We start to get, I think, some of the results of the Iowa caucus. They actually vote at 8, but some of them come in very, very quickly. Some come in a little later than that. So I don't know exactly when we will be getting all of them. When we will be getting all of them coming in to us. Generally, the cities come in first. First, let's wish everyone very happy Martin Luther King Day. This is the anniversary of the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King, and a very appropriate day to be having a very, very important primary. Dr. King was an advocate of peaceful protest, of facing people with their contradictions and hypocrisies and having them resolve it rather than battering them and doing violence and who knows what, showing more anger than sometimes the people that you're angry at. And therefore, that then turns around, and it may be that the people now that are running around demonstrating against racists are the biggest racists. I mean, which is really strange. I think Dr. King would find himself very, very confused, particularly by, of course, the critical test that he used to judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And we see that so many people, whenever accused of anything, immediately run to the victimization of skin, of color, and avoid accountability.
And we have a short clip if we want to play it.
And I think Dr. King words would be enormously helpful today, but I don't know that there are many people that have their ears open for that. Sure, we can play that short clip.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Well, let's hope that over time reestablishes itself as a message, and we will now take a short break. Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
Body is an amazing chemical laboratory. When you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry.
Get 35% off your first order by using discount code RUDY.
Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us.
We're back on.
America's Mayor Live, back again, just a little before 8 o'clock. We're starting a little bit early. Of course, we took a short break because we got a call from President Trump, who has said that he's heading over to his campaign headquarters, feeling good about the caucuses. So at this point, now that we approach 8 o'clock, all of the speeches in all of the 600 plus caucus areas are over. Everybody's gotten to say the last words they get to say to the delegates, and the delegates are now meeting in little groups. This is like 18th century, 19th century democracy, I guess. They're meeting in little groups and kind of vaguely Trump groups, DeSantis groups, Haley groups, Ramaswamy groups, really nobody else, right? And what happens, which is really interesting if you could get to see it, but they don't let you see the inside part of it. You actually see them move around. Not much, but you'll see somebody maybe go from a Ramaswamy group, you'll see him go over to a Trump group, and then go over to a DeSantis group, and then go back to the Trump group, and that's where he lines up. So you see some of the indecision, and you see some of the change of position, and this is a process that produces, I think, somewhat more last-minute changes than is normally the case. Now, Trump is going into it with a big advantage because in the poll that was taken yesterday, the numbers of people that are definitely going to vote for him as compared to definitely going to vote for the others is just crazy different. Like he's an 85, 89%, whereas DeSantis isn't bad. He's in his 60s, and she's down around the 40s. That means there are more people that are unsure of her than unsure of her that are going to vote for her. Now, unless that poll is wrong, or unless she made some great big closing argument today, she should be the one that has the slippage. And I don't know how much of it would go to Trump, because if you're on her, you might be more likely to go to DeSantis. So I guess I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if the big change in that poll is that DeSantis comes in second and Haley comes in third. It really depends on what the nature of that hesitancy was, but it was a broad-based hesitancy, and that's not a good thing in an election like this, where there's a lot of changing of mind that goes on. So here are the questions that have to be answered tonight.
Mayor, do you want to? We just hit 8 o'clock, so you want to welcome our new audience.
Let me officially now say hello to all of our wonderful audience for America's Mayor Live, and we're going to be covering the caucus in Iowa that is just at about the time that we open closing. And we just had a call from some of the people that were on early, got to hear at least a teeny bit of it from President Trump, who said he was just leaving for the campaign headquarters. And I don't think, if I recall correctly, you'll get any numbers. You may get a couple that slip down around 8:30. You're not going to really get the numbers until 9. So looks like they've closed down, and now they are going about voting, and they vote in different ways. They vote by secret ballot. They vote by lining up. They vote by hand, and then they the chairman of the meeting certifies the vote. Everybody has a chance to go over it, and then they send it to the clerk. Almost about as secure a way as you can do it, because every voter can tell if there's any cheating going on. This may be the way we should teach them how to vote in a few of those crooked places. But this is about as secure a way to vote as you can. Each one of the candidates was all over the place today, despite the inclement weather. I don't know. I don't know that there's going to be a tremendous impact. There's going to be a tremendous impact on the number of people that voted as a result of the weather. All the reports today it seemed pretty normal, but I can't believe there isn't going to be snow.
You get up.
So the last big contested Republican primary was in 2016, and I think that produced about 180,000 voters, which was the record. They were actually thinking before the weather situation emerged that this could produce 200. But now the thinking is that it might not reach the numbers of 2016. So we'll have to see if that happens. While we wait for that, I need to remind all of you, because the crooked, dishonest, Pravda-like press that we have in America has, of course, not told you that on Friday night there was a rather major riot in front of the White House that looked a lot like what they exaggerated January 6th to be. It seemed considerably more violent, except for the fact that these people were not attacked by the police. There was no use of tear gas on them, even though they were shaking the gates of the White House. Now, for the life of me, I can't imagine why anyone would let you shake the gates of the White House without getting arrested. But I guess if you are a left-winger who's angry at the president but could still possibly vote for him, and you're hoping that if you sell out Israel enough, you can get that vote, you don't arrest him, because we don't have a criminal justice system any longer. We have a political punitive system. So things get judged by the politics of it. Now, were those people that were complaining that there was some cheating going on in a Democratic county, they'd all have been arrested. Maybe nowadays, after the sentences by the judges of the District of Columbia, who act more like commissars, who knows? Maybe they've been shot on the spot. I don't know. But no punitive action was taken against these people. It required White House personnel to go into secure locations. And despite that, not a single arrest was made, nor was any tear gas used, which maybe they used up all their tear gas on January 6th, because when you look at the film that is now released, and we haven't seen all of it yet, looks to me like one very, very peaceful crowd of thousands and thousands and thousands of people was attacked with very pungent tear gas to cause the commotion. Oh, and this was all outside. And these are the people they now want to go after. They're 1,200 people that they've tried isn't enough. So now they want to try even more. Even though we have crime going on in America, in some places, record murders, but we're going to spend our time on a group of people like the guy who was walking around dressed up like it was Halloween and was escorted by the police and had the police hold the door for him. The shaman had the police hold the door for him as he entered the Senate chamber. The guy was really shocked when he found out he wasn't wanted. They escorted him all around. They tried to help him get in the first door. When that didn't work, they got the key for the second door. They opened it. They held the door for him. He went in. He made his speech. They told him to leave. He asked if he could say a prayer. He said a prayer and he left. Then they told him he was involved in an insurrection. And he was wondering, who am I insurrecting against? Or what is an insurrection? Tell me what what's an insurrection? Is it being escorted by the police around very cordially? Well, this wasn't cordial. Maybe we'll have some pictures of it later, Ted, to show it. The exit polls, to the extent that they exist, from the reading between the lines at Fox and harder to do with CNN and MSNBC, think that Trump's lead's going to hold. Now, they're not going to cheat here. There's no way to cheat. Remember when Fox called Arizona for Biden when 2 votes were in? And then it ended up being a 2% election, which maybe wasn't a 2% election with votes that still haven't been found, and how they could have, irrespective of the result in the election, how they could have called it with 2 votes in.
That's when you knew it was going to be a interesting night.
Particularly when at that very moment, Pennsylvania had 65% of the vote cast, and Trump was ahead by 800,000. But in any event, we'll keep an eye on them too, because they cannot be trusted. Their operation is intended to try to get their candidate elected. Fox has desperately tried. First, I mean, the real big effort that the Murdochs put in was for DeSantis. And when DeSantis disappointed them, they abandoned him for quite some time. I mean, they threw him down like a useless dog. And then they tried Haley, and they tried to pump her balloon up, but something went wrong there. So they're back now with a last minute try with DeSantis and a little bit of sucking up to Trump, because they're afraid that he's going to be president and he won't be nice to them. Of course, this is very, very independent journalism, right? It's very independent journalism. Very, very. At least at CNN and MSNBC, you know where they stand. It's real simple. If Trump gets elected, we will become Nazi Germany, and they will all be put in prison, and they will not be allowed to broadcast. No, don't be sarcastic and cheer at home. That isn't right. We do not want that to happen to them. We want them to be able to get to say whatever the hell they want to say, as long as we can get to say whatever the hell we want to say, because what we want to say is a lot more intelligent than what they want to say. And if we have a battle in the marketplace of ideas, within about 10 years, communism will be gone, Marxism will be gone, and all extreme left-wing thinking will be gone, because that's what happens everywhere. Communism runs its course if you just let it run its course and you challenge it. So the way the state is going to work is, it's not conveniently divided geographically into Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, because the cities are in different places and the rural counties are everywhere. Now, the rural counties are solidly Republican, and they are solidly Trump Republican. And that's the place that DeSantis has to make his inroads, because DeSantis decided to run to the right of Trump. Was it a good idea? Was it a bad idea? I guess about 10 o'clock tonight, we can tell you. But he decided he was going to run to the right. Haley didn't know where she was running. She wasn't criticizing Trump very much. Then she started with the "I'll be less chaotic." Now she's running pretty hard, so she's really running to the left. She's in fact in New Hampshire. She's trying very, very hard to get the Democratic vote, to the extent that it exists, that registered before Friday, to sabotage the Republican primary, and the left-leaning independent vote, which is available. They are allowed to vote in New Hampshire. So she is I guess you can simplify it by saying DeSantis is going to the right and she's going to the left. Now, let's see how much room there is for that. If we take a good look here, let me see if I can move this over a little.
And of course, Mayor, in 2016, we started getting some results as early as 8:30. So right now, across Iowa, in hundreds of locations, the voters are meeting in person.
They probably have. I mean, it's all a question of how many. It's all a question of how many have gotten finished by now. At this point, if they're finished, they will be able to report.
Yep.
If they're finished, they'll be able to report.
And they started. Yep.
Here's if you want to look right now. Here is a good look at. Here's a good look at the state of Iowa. So that I'll make it a little small. We get the whole state in. There's the whole state of Iowa. The blue happened to be the only places carried by Joe Biden. Now Trump won this by 13%, so that will, to some extent, guide what you're thinking here. But if you'll notice, the blue are largely the cities: Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, the capital, and Sioux City over here, which is really a Republican city, the only one that's really a Republican city. So your Democratic vote is in these areas. Now, that's where your Haley vote's going to come from. The Haley vote's going to come from in here, in those places right there. And they should come in early. So you should expect a somewhat larger Haley vote at the beginning than as we move along. Now, part of it also has to do with the size. Part of it also has to do with the size of the counties. So here's a map that shows you the size of the counties. The very, very green areas are pretty much the same cities you just saw, converted into counties, and they're in a range of about 400,000 plus people, 400 to 430,000. So you can see right there, Des Moines, right in the center. That's Polk County. Des Moines is right there. Are they able to see it?
Yep, we got it up on the screen there, Mayor.
Des Moines is right there. Ames is over here, and that would be, Democrats not going to win this state this time out. But if a Democrat were to win, that's where they would win. And if Haley's looking to pick up votes, I would say the greener it gets, the better chance for Haley. The lighter it gets, the better chance for Trump. Except what will happen with the evangelical vote? Cruz won it. Cruz won the evangelical vote last time. The election was close, but as they say, close but no cigar.
Can you bring up the 16 map again? The results
At the primary.
Yeah.
So here's the result. You'll see it was close. It was 27-6 for Cruz and 24-3 for Trump and 23 for Rubio. So they will lump together, which suggested possibly Rubio's endorsement will mean a few votes. Now, Rubio carried, interestingly, the Democratic counties, and Rubio carried the counties that Haley has to carry. Rubio carried Dallas and Polk, that's the capital. Polk is the capital. Story at University, Ames, and then Davenport and cities there. So he carried only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He carried 5 counties. Meanwhile, the darker counties, the ones that you see in the darker red, brown, or whatever that is.
Dark red. We'll say light red and dark red.
Okay. The dark red were the Cruz counties, and they were the most right-wing counties. And you'll see there the counties that are the center of evangelical groups. Sioux, Lyon up in the corner here. These are places where if Cruz is going to do well, he is going to have to do well. Down here, Wayne and Davis, also very heavily evangelical. Now, you notice, despite that, Trump carried Davis. Now, there's actually, tell you the reasons. First of all, Trump is not anathema, even back then, to the evangelical voter. And number two, Davis wasn't as evangelical then. It switched over the last, a very big switch in population. So these are the areas where you're going to see, you're going to see early or not, a bump for DeSantis. If you don't see a bump here, now there are evangelicals all over the state. You saw how much of the state voted for Trump for Trump in 2020. All throughout the state is rural areas and evangelical forms of Christianity. But those are the places it's concentrated, and that's where you'll be able to see it early enough if it emerges as a vote. If, however, you see in those areas the ones that should be the most favorable to DeSantis, like Leon and Sioux and Wayne and Davis, or Dallas and Polk and Story and Johnson and Scott, ones that should be better for Haley. If you see Trump running anywhere near the mid 40s there, then he's going to come in at 48, 49, or 50. And looking at my watch, they've actually finished counting a few places. And maybe they're waiting just a little so that a few don't trickle in. I mean, like, there's a big difference. There's a big difference in some of these caucuses have 30 people, and some of these caucuses have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Don't know if there are too many over 1,000. Yeah, there were a couple. So it'll take a while to see exactly how it comes in and which counties go which way. So
Mayor, is there a chance that when we look at this map here, so if we look at the 2016 results, the dark red, light red, and blue.
You want to go back to Cruz,
Rubio.
The Cruz Rubio.
Yeah.
I forgot it was such a big three-way race that Rubio was still in it. But yes, it was. I mean, Rubio had a nice showing.
So
at 23%, Rubio had a good showing.
That's right. So if you look at that map, so the blue there. So here's my question: is there a chance this time around that President Trump holds on, of course, to the counties he won in 2016, picks up what Cruz got in 2016, and then these blue counties we see here, those may go for Haley. But Trump should come out first in almost all of those other counties. Is there a chance that happens? That's what I am.
I mean, is there a chance that
this map
that DeSantis doesn't even win a county?
Well, Well, okay, so that's a good. That pushes back against. You'd think with all the time he spent there, he'd win something. So and that's where you'd want to know, where is he set up, right? So maybe DeSantis is set up in one of those blue counties.
I'm told that DeSantis is the places to look for DeSantis.
Yep.
To do well. So let's do DeSantis in what color should we give DeSantis? We'll give DeSantis red. Okay.
Okay.
We'll make him the most right wing, just for the heck of it, because he'd like to be. I don't think he is, but he'd like to be. So Wayne County would be one right there. That'd be one, and Davis County here, and Lyon County up here, and Sioux County up here, and then, believe it or not, Sioux City is down here, and that would be another area where.
So up there in the.
You want
So take a look up
for
at
him,
the.
for him to do well, he's going to have to either win several of those, right? Or he's going to have a really good showing there. For her opportunity, so let's make her, what color shall we make her? We'll make her green, okay? We're going to make.
So now what does Nikki need to do here? Okay.
What she needs to do is, these are her counties of opportunity: Dallas, Story, and Polk, which is the center of the state. That's Des Moines and Ames. And this is the center of the Democratic vote, as well as the more moderate Republican vote. The other counties you can see here are, you can see Johnson. That's another one. Scott, which contains, which really right on the border of Chicago. And over here, down in here, this was Trump country. So I would say the ones that I've checked are the ones where there is the greatest likelihood that somebody else but Trump could win it. Now, could Trump win every county? Could.
That's the one I did. That's the one possibility we should consider. You could come on top in every county, even if Haley and DeSantis
against Biden. He won all but 6 counties. Against Biden, he won all but 6 counties.
Probably all the blue ones. All of them except for the blue ones.
That he lost were those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one other.
Probably wherever Ames, Iowa is located.
Ames and Story.
Okay, so that's where, yeah. So those are the 2 schools, right? Story and Polk. That's Iowa State and University of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing over on the eastern edge, that must be the Quad Cities. That kind of goes up against Illinois, like you were mentioning. And it'd be interesting to see. So will Trump?
Remember, Ronald Reagan, who came from Illinois, started his radio career.
Oh, I love this story.
In Iowa. I don't remember what city, but right along here somewhere. Broadcasting Chicago Cub games.
And he had a great story about that, right?
Oh, sure. He had a great story where they used to broadcast him. They used to broadcast him on the wire, and then every once in a while, the wire would go out.
Meaning he is announcing the game based off of a piece of paper to people in Iowa, for example.
And then they have sound effects.
Yeah.
Yay! Boom!
Yeah. But this is how people would listen to they'd be listening to Ronald Reagan or
home run.
Yeah. But he's going off of what a telegraph machine is.
And then he would have to supply. He'd have to press a little button for like the little buttons we have right over here, over there.
Yeah.
Press the little buttons for cheers and for boos and for all sorts of other things.
Yep.
And then every once in a while, the machine wouldn't work. Yeah. And you wouldn't get your guy'd have a 2-2 count. He's at the plate. Nothing comes in. So the trick was do foul balls. Just do one foul ball after another, after another, after another. And then when you get the wire catches up, quickly catch them up. Wait for don't take a break and quickly catch them up. And one time it took so long that I didn't happen. By the time he caught up, the game was over. He thought he was going to be fired, and they didn't blame it on him. They thought he had done a good job of keeping the people. They thought he had done a good job of keeping the people entertained, which tells you what a great showman he was, right?
A lot of balls.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of bad pitches. A lot of wild pitches.
Yeah, I don't think too many people question that about his stamina, right?
That's right. So 8 years ago, Mayor.
Here, I just put up for you because I knew you were interested. I put up for you the 2020 results.
The 2020 caucus results. Let's see them.
The red is Trump. Is Biden.
This is the election. This is the 2020 election results.
This is the most honest election in American history, according to Governor Kemp, the Republican governor of Georgia.
Your views on YouTube are going to skyrocket now. You just called it the most honest election ever. Yeah. Yeah.
The most positive election in American history. So there are the counties that were carried by the Democrat. Just a few. And you can see the big cities. There are the big cities, right? So
yeah,
and I think it was Davenport where Trump was broadcasting.
You made a good point, Mayor. I think Trump's going to sweep every county.
I think Davenport was where Reagan was.
Reagan, he won every. Yeah. I
think Davenport, the place where he was doing the broadcast for the Cubs.
Oh, okay. But I'm just thinking for tonight, you made a good point. I think Trump wins every county, right? He's going to be the favorite. The question is, it's a race for second.
Every county is hard.
But he was,
I mean, there's got to be at least one, because some of these counties are very small. So just a little annoyance at you. Just a little annoyance at you will get you in a lot of trouble.
That's right.
Right.
But even in a county, let's say where the others are performing well, they're still splitting up that vote, right?
I'm showing you the difference. I'm showing you the distance between Chicago.
There it is.
And Davenport. There's Chicago.
Straight across the state.
There's Chicago right there.
And Mayor, we are now getting results coming in.
And there's Davenport all the way over there. Not far. Just got to go across the state of Illinois. And you are there. So what do you have so far?
So we are now getting some results that are now coming in. This is according to the New York Times. Polk County, less than 1% of the vote in. Trump leads with just 13 votes reporting. So let's see where some of these heavier counties that are coming in.
Polk County is a county that could be a Haley County. Remember?
Yep.
Polk County is a Democrat. Polk County voted against Trump in the last election, even though he won the state by 13%.
Johnson County, just 1% of the vote in. Ron DeSantis is, wow. Again, so these results that we're getting now, it's usually just one precinct.
Sure. They're always fun.
So these early ones here, maybe we can put it up on the screen here for folks. We'll share. The thing with the New York Times, they are just with
kind of early.
They're able to, here, let's take a look right here. Here we have the live tracker. These counties that are reporting. The estimated vote here. Again, just less than 1% reporting. None of the counties are fully in. Polk County, less than 1% of the votes are in. To Trump with 77%, to Ron DeSantis 15%, and Vivek with 8%. But of course, that's 13 votes. So that's too early. Here we go. Lyon County in the upper or in the northwest corner of the state. This is one you were telling us to look at for DeSantis. Trump coming in big at 72%. DeSantis 12%. Nikki Haley just 9%.
And that's what's counted.
11% reporting. And so we are starting to get some results. There we go. we are starting to get some results coming in here. And so that's from the New York Times. Again, probably too early to start calling any of these counties, but the votes are now coming in. And this is about the same time 8 years ago that results started coming
Yeah,
in.
they come in at 8:30. That's when they begin. Now that's there's a shot on the screen that we're looking at right now where Ramaswamy is making his pitch at a caucus.
Yeah.
That's that and there's the chairman of the caucus sitting up on top there.
That's right. So we are watching the results. They're starting to come in. Stick with us. We'll be following this all night. The Iowa caucus results are coming in. And we are awaiting some of these states. Again, the most outlets are prepared to call it for Trump, even with those early numbers, right? They just wanted.
They're calling for Trump already.
They're calling it for Trump. The New York.
Well, I see one here that says Donald Trump wins.
Yeah.
Associated Press.
AP, and that's the one everyone waits for. The AP to call it.
AP has called it for Trump.
They just wanted to make sure they saw
right now he's at 69%.
And of course
with only
very few votes are being reported. Again, most of these places they're just turning in a few sheets here. So Hancock County, for example, Trump up big. The percentage here it is. It'll be interesting to see if Vivek can get close to Nikki Haley for a third place finish.
Mhm.
I think it's pretty clear that Trump is going to win this. DeSantis is looking like a strong second, or not a strong second. He's looking like he may come in second, which I feel like he had to do, right, to even go on to New Hampshire. Nikki Haley and Vivek seem to be fighting now for third place. But again, that's just with just a few hundred votes reporting. So there's still a lot of time. So it'll be interesting to see if Haley can keep it close with DeSantis, because as of now, DeSantis is doubling Haley's.
Well, we don't know where the votes are coming in
the
from.
votes are coming in from Polk County, that's Des Moines, Johnson County outside of Cedar Rapids, and then some of the more rural counties that you had mentioned. And those, of course, went strong for Trump in 2016. Well, Trump and Cruz kind of split a lot of those counties. Trump appears to have a strong lead in those places. So as the mayor has mentioned all night, we're watching some key counties.
So far, less than 1,000 votes have been counted.
That's right. So with less than 1,000 votes,
and Trump has 70%, DeSantis has 15, Haley has 8, Ramaswamy 5, and Brinkley 0.4. That's that. I think that Fox's they're calling it based on their exit polls, and you could tell by their
if you get enough,
but by the news they were flashing that he was doing very well. That turnout in his area was strong, enthusiasm was strong. They ask a lot of underlying questions. Why are you voting? So a lot of people must have been saying economy, or I guess they're trying to make up for Arizona, huh? Let's hope it's not as stupid as Arizona.
That's right. And so we'll keep counting these results. We'll take another commercial break.
It's somewhat surprising, because one would think the earlier votes would favor DeSantis and Haley, because they should be coming from the more urban areas. Difference being the urban areas have bigger votes to count, and if they are connected with a pretty good online system, it's a lot easier to count 500 votes than 5,000, right? You can get it done a lot faster and be a lot more certain that you're correct.
That's right.
So shall we take a short break?
That's right. We'll take a short break.
And which one are we doing? Tell everyone who we're going to ask them to support right now, because all these people are patriots, and this is support for the cause as well as support for them.
QUX.
QUX, which is where you should be.
A number of you are watching on QUX, and we
watching it on QUX. You'll get much better coverage.
And we hope to see more people watching on QUX. So let's go to our friends.
Our device is something that you can plug into your television, and now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
Subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right, you can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it, and I use it, and it's good. I mean, it's great. It's just exactly the same, except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code RUDY to receive $30 off.
Had to make a good showing.
And we're back.
Then she had to make a good showing right now, Trump is eating up the counties where they have to make a good showing, which is maybe why they called it for him so quickly. Now he's quickly down to 69%. He's not ending up at 69%. The last poll taken was 48% for Trump. If he does that, that will be the largest victory by a Republican ever in a contested caucus.
What's that?
This will be the largest. Yeah. It'll be the largest victory ever in an Iowa caucus. It would exceed Bob Dole's victory in '96 by more than 2-1. So even if he makes his 48%, which is the number that the newspaper gave him, the last poll, that would be a massive wipeout. But right now, I'm looking at two counties that I just pointed out for our audience.
Yep.
That one of which has to be a county where DeSantis has to do well, and one has to be a county where Trump has to do, where Haley has to do well, and he's winning both of them. Looks like he won them early.
So of course, we're still early results are just coming in. Now they're, again, Mayor, just 700 votes statewide have been reported, but they're from enough of a cross section of the state where they are willing, they're willing to predict that this shows a pattern enough to show that Trump's going to win.
They're not doing it on the votes that came in. They're doing it on their exit polls. I could have told you, about 6 o'clock tonight when I saw their first chyrons, right?
Yeah.
That they had a big Trump exit poll, just the stuff they were writing.
So the exit polls, plus they wanted to wait until a few, right?
Well, you don't call it until a vote comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to have a vote come in to call.
To say.
And of course, that's how they made their mistake in the past. So right now, Des Moines, right? But we're talking now about Johnson City, which is a Democratic city.
Johnson City, of course, that is an area where
Johnson City, Trump is losing, and that is there are now appearing on the map. They're now appearing on the map places where places where Haley is doing well. And Des Moines is right now fairly close. Sioux City, heavily Trump.
Mhm.
It appears to me that the
Des Moines is, again, Polk County, of course, where Des Moines is located. Again, just a few vote counts are coming in from there. Under 1% of the vote is in. So that's still, it's very, very much too early to read too much into it, Mayor. Trump with 49%, Nikki Haley now with 25%, and Ron DeSantis with 16%. And that's for Polk County, where, of course, Des Moines is located. And, of course, as more votes come in, Trump's lead is shrinking, not by a lot, but it is shrinking. Now at 62.5%, Ron DeSantis at 15.6%, Nikki Haley now
New
at
York Times has
14%.
estimated a final vote for Trump. You know what it is?
Yes.
53%.
So based off of their, and they, of course,
Based off their exit polls, they believe he's going to get 53%, that Haley's going to get 21%, and that DeSantis will get 18%. But then, because they are not sure of themselves, they have a range.
yeah,
And the range is Trump could get anywhere from 39 to 65. Haley could get anywhere from 12 to 33. And DeSantis could get anywhere from 9 to 30. They haven't told us anything.
I love the Bake's range. 1% to 18%. That's quite a range.
I mean, if you read that literally, it could be 39, 33 Trump Haley. That would be a big win for Haley.
Yeah.
That I would call that dreamland. New York Times dreamland.
It's interesting, but I think for Haley and DeSantis, they just want to get a second place finish, and they're going to be happy to move on to New Hampshire.
Haley and DeSantis are now virtually even.
That's what I have showing now. New numbers coming in.
Still only 1% of the vote counted.
Which is 1%. Trump at 61%. Ron DeSantis 15.4%. Nikki Haley 15.2%. So they're neck and neck. Vivek at 7%. And I guess, Chris Christie with 2 votes. People are still voting for Chris. He's got more votes than our friend Ada. So according to the most recent numbers,
Haley is within
DeSantis
2/10 of a point.
And more numbers coming out. DeSantis maintaining that lead over Haley now, 16.9% to Haley's 16.2%.
Trump has dropped now to a more realistic 58.6.
Trump is now at 58.6.
With still only 1% counted, which
That's right.
Seems a little silly, but there must be more than that counted. But
we'll put a live tracker up right now. So we're going to try and track these numbers now that we've got a few more votes in. Caucus live results.
If they want, in the little screen, you notice I have the times on the screen.
Yeah.
So people can watch it.
Yep.
If they want to watch it. You see it there?
Yep.
Right there?
Yep. I brought it up. Yep. 1% reporting. I'm just copying now for our graphic here so we can put a little bit on. And that's still with 1% of the votes in. We got to put Vivek on there. Nobody else does. So we're going to have 4 names on ours.
We're going to
include Vivek's name at least in our list. These other outlets don't even include him.
Who doesn't include him?
Leave him off.
Well, I guess they don't think he's
not nice. So of course, so we're following closely here some of these numbers. And if you hear us being a little bit quiet at times where we're punching and we're going through
trying to get them as up to date as humanly possible.
We're going to put them on there for you to see what we are seeing. And again, the latest numbers have Donald Trump still with a commanding lead with just 1% reporting. And Ron DeSantis maintains a distant second place, and he is neck and neck with Nikki Haley for second. And coming in third, or coming in at
Now we have
now.
a decent size sample
Yep.
of 620,000 votes. Now that, I mean, that, if that's correct. Oh, I'm looking at something else. Okay. All right, that's wrong.
So we're still looking, folks. We're going to have these numbers up on the screen now in just 1 second. President Trump still with a commanding lead as the results continue to come in. And of course, we're going to put those up to you right now. Here we go, folks. This is the latest numbers we have with 1% reporting. President Trump at 57.7%, Ron DeSantis 17.1%, Nikki Haley 16.8%, Vivek Ramaswamy at 7.1%. So more numbers are coming in. Haley has now taken over Ron DeSantis with 17.7% of the vote. Ron DeSantis at 17.2%. Vivek Ramaswamy now at 7.5%. Trump's lead now, he's at 55.2%. This is with 1% reporting. Nikki Haley, and we talked about this, Mayor, she is now leading in Story County. There's two counties right now where Trump does not lead.
Story County is the capital.
That's right. So Story County, and then over close to where Cedar Rapids is, that's Johnson County.
Yeah, and that's also Democratic.
So Nikki Haley maintains a
She's the
lead
Democratic candidate.
in Johnson County. She's running in the wrong. Someone needs to tell her she's running in the wrong primary. She should run against Biden.
Maybe she'll be Biden's vice president.
Yeah, that should be a new campaign. Nikki for Biden VP.
Maybe she'll be his vice president. Who knows?
So with just 1% reporting, Nikki Haley now at 18.2%, Ron DeSantis at 16.7%. So that is really changing fast. Vivek Ramaswamy with 7.5% of the vote. But Nikki Haley has now taken over for Ron DeSantis, who is now in third place. So, you know, so now Nikki Haley 19%, Ron DeSantis 16.9%. And Haley is now up at 19%. That's a 2 percentage point lead over Ron DeSantis.
They're still at the same 1% of the vote cast.
And that's still with just 1% of the vote cast. President Trump now at what percentage, Mayor, do you have?
54.
54 and some change, or just 54 even?
54.7.
And so Nikki Haley has taken over Ron DeSantis's place for second. And Ramaswamy is now at 8%, which sounds better than 7.5. So we'll give him that little bump here. We'll make sure we include that in our total. So here we have the latest numbers right here on the screen. You have President Trump still maintaining a commanding lead with 54.7% of the vote. Nikki Haley in a distant second at 19%. Ron DeSantis, third place, 16.9%. Vivek coming in.
We just got a group of new numbers in.
Of the vote.
We just got a group of new numbers in, and Trump went to 53.9 or stayed there. Haley at 20, and DeSantis at 16.9. Then if you look at the map, the distribution of that, let's take a look at that. If you want to look down here, pretty much what we were telling you about, right?
That's right.
But a couple of surprises, right? A couple of surprises because the Reds are heavy Trumps. So over here, near the there's only two places where she's made a bump, really, and that's here in Johnson City.
17.
That's right here. This would be Johnson City right here, and the other would be in Story County, which is right above the Capitol. Trump, the first of the two major evangelical centers that had to be taken, Trump took in the northwest corner up there. The areas in the south In the southeast corner were both areas where Haley had a chance. One is solidly red, and the other one is almost solidly red.
So okay, so now with that's a
The distribution, you notice with all those red boxes on the map, the distribution where Trump is over 60%. Any place where you see a big red box, Trump is over 60%. Now you just saw another one come up. That's another evangelical county in the southern part of the state. So if there was any doubt about the evangelical vote, because DeSantis got the support of the minister he gave $90,000 to, it doesn't seem like the $90,000 had the impact that it was supposed to have.
so with 2% reporting, Trump is now at 55.3%, Nikki Haley at 19%, Ron DeSantis 17%, Vivek Ramaswamy 7.4%. Chris Christie has 4 votes statewide. That's out of about 2,000. So he's polling at about 0.2%. Well, not polling, those are the votes he's getting. He's coming in at 0.2%.
Interesting thing is, at this point, if I read the map correctly, DeSantis is not leading in any county. See the colors?
Yeah.
There are no gold counties. There are the counties. There are the counties right there. And the counties are, you have 2 in which Haley is leading, right? And
Yep.
you have all the rest. Trump is either way ahead or ahead by 60% or ahead by 40% or more. So
That's right. So again, the latest numbers we have with 2% reporting, President Trump at 55.3%, Nikki Haley 19%, Ron DeSantis 17%, Vivek Ramaswamy coming in with 7.4%. Of course, a number of other individuals are on the ballot as a part of this race. Okay, new numbers coming in. Nikki Haley seems to be keeping about a 2 percentage point lead over Ron DeSantis, and it really does come down to where those votes are coming in for Nikki Haley, and it's 2 of the counties that we talked about. She's leading in Story, the state capital, and in Johnson County, and those are 2 counties, Mayor, of course, you had mentioned.
you'll see if you want to look at my map, right?
Do you have it? Let me know when is it up?
My map is up now.
There it is. This is from the beginning of the night.
So if you look at the blues and where I put the X's, the green X's, I put places that could be won by Nikki Haley. Dallas, Polk, Story, and Johnson. Then the red are places where not so much DeSantis could win, but he can make a good showing. And Trump has already taken Dallas County there down on the right. He has taken Lyon County way up in the northwest corner. Haley is leading in Johnson County, which is right here. And she's leading in Story County. And Trump is leading in the other 2 counties where she has to do well. So she's doing well in a few, but she's faltering in the others. And she really has to do well in all of them. She can't just do well in a few. She really has to do well in basically in every single one of them.
And she has Story and Johnson. She seems to be doing well. Let's see. So with 2% reporting, Ron DeSantis closing that gap now at 17.4% to Nikki Haley's 19%. Trump, 54.8%. Vivek, 7.5%. So, Mayor, with just a few percentage points coming in,
Trump has
what is
jumped
it
up a
telling
little
you so
bit of
far?
55%, and Haley's gone down to 18. So it's dry. It's getting
18.5 to Ron DeSantis, 17.4.
so DeSantis and Haley are getting closer. I mean, if Trump wanted to go to bed, he could really announce victory right now.
18.8 to 18 to 17.8.
We'll see how good the Times. We'll see how good the Times is on their what did I say their projection was for him?
53. 7.8, 54.2. And of course, if you hear, sometimes we're typing in these numbers, folks, for you. So if it goes quiet, sometimes I gotta concentrate on updating the numbers, right? So you have the most accurate information from America's Mayor
Haley
Live.
and
This is
DeSantis have just gotten closer at 18.8
0.8 to
and
18,
18.0.
respectively.
Still with only 2% reporting, and Trump has jumped up about 2 points.
Of course,
The counties still remain. Johnson County looks like it's gone more solidly Haley. Story County has remained the same. So far, there are no counties where DeSantis is leading.
That's right. That's right. And of course, thank you for joining us on America's Mayor Live. We're covering the 2024 Iowa caucus with America's mayor himself, Rudy Giuliani, who has some experience himself, not just as a candidate, but as a top surrogate and a top a surrogate spokesperson, advisor for numerous other people who have ran for president. And so he knows the Hawkeye state quite well. So why don't we go? We're going to play a short clip.
They
A
have
little flashback.
probably.
Go ahead. You want to make a point, but then I'll
play the clip, because then we can take. It'll be the later we go, the more and better information
we'll have.
we're going to have. And
don't go anywhere. We're staying live.
Maybe from having been the mayor of a city, I know that your first defense against terrorist attack is that local police station or that local firehouse. That's it. It's not the FBI. It's not FEMA. It's not some magical people running around with federal uniforms on. If, God forbid, there's an attack right here, it's how good is that local fire department? How good is that local police department? How good is the local emergency services people? So what my function as president would be to make sure they get the help they need, but they've got to do the job. But they should get the help they need. And I think the same thing is the way you handle it. Maybe they're not getting the help they need. I'd be sure willing to increase that, but I would not want to supplant their role.
Wow. So you're sounds like a conservative to me.
He's wiping out. I just took a look at Lyon County, which is the county in the upper northwest corner, and he's winning there like about 5-1 with 11% of the vote counted, which means the evangelical vote is delivering for him, which is very bad news for DeSantis, because DeSantis made, as you know, a massive effort to try to take that vote away, including getting the most prestigious, supposedly, evangelical vote getter who won the last 2 elections, theoretically. I happen to think that the candidates may have won them, but the Reverend thinks he won them.
Funny how that works. Funny how that works. Yeah. So what does it
looks like? It looks like Trump beat the Reverend about 4-1. In fact, right now, DeSantis is coming in third in Lyon County.
That's right. And we're looking at that right now. Of course, the latest numbers with just 2% reporting, President Trump at 55.4%.
Now, interesting for those people who don't like Nikki Haley. DeSantis just passed her. With, again, 2% only of the vote cast. DeSantis has passed her.
That's right.
It's funny. Everybody's doing better than projected, if I recall correctly.
That's right. Ron DeSantis has now overtaken Nikki Haley for second. But again, it's so
No. So I'm looking at the poll from Sunday. The only Vivek and Haley are doing under the projection. The projection, remember, was 48 for Trump. Trump's at 54. 20% for Haley. She's at 17. 16% for DeSantis. He's at 19. And 8% for Vivek, and he's at 7.
But that's right. But a race alert, DeSantis has overtaken Haley for second. But again, with such a small number reporting, Mayor, those percentages, the differences really still only amount to a few dozen votes. Still just 2% reporting.
Yes.
And where they're coming in from, you've talked about this, Lyon County in the Northwest, Donald Trump. Oh, new numbers came in to Lyon County. DeSantis is climbing on Trump. And you mentioned that's where DeSantis has to do well. He's at 40% in Lyon County to Trump's 48%. Vivek Ramaswamy was 17, and Nikki Haley nowhere to be found. It does appear that the attacks against Nikki Haley from really all of the other candidates may have worked in terms of hurting her and actually helping DeSantis, and Vivek may be a beneficiary of that. People that were, maybe not looking at Trump or DeSantis.
Well, there's 2 counties where she has a lead. One is Story County, which is in the middle of the state. That's where Ames, Iowa is. That's 32 to 27 to 21. Trump is in 3rd place there. And then in Johnson County, it's 41% Haley and 28% Trump and 23% Trump.
Yep.
Otherwise, Trump is leading in every other county, with a number of counties with nothing in. In fact, most counties have nothing in yet.
A lot of the smaller counties still yet to come in. And by small, I mean smaller in
The
population.
smaller, the more they're going to be for Trump.
The more they're going to, yes. And of course, now with 3% reporting, where we've now moved from 2 to 3% reporting, DeSantis has opened up a 2 percentage point lead over Nikki Haley for second place. Trump is climbing. He's now up to 55.6%, followed by DeSantis at 19.4%, Nikki Haley 17.2%, Vivek in 4th at 17.8%. And just to quickly check in, Chris Christie actually lost a vote. He had 4 votes statewide. Now he has 3. I'm not going to make the joke about what happened to the 4th vote. We're not going to joke about. We are not going to joke about Chris Christie eating one of his votes. He's at 3.
He's going to claim it was a
job. They took away a quarter of my votes. So that's interesting. Christie went from 4 votes to 3. So if anyone has any information on why that happened, it's really caucus. So are people allowed to rescind, or no? Once you vote, you vote. Once it's recorded, it's recorded, right?
So
Something happened there. I swear that was at 4 because I've been following him very closely. With 3% of the vote in, Trump maintaining a strong lead, 53.2%. Ron DeSantis in second at 19.5%. Nikki Haley now at 18.3%. Vivek climbing to 8%.
that's what he was predicted to get.
8?
8.
8. Well, he's looking strong. He's looking like he may get that 8%. Nikki Haley at 18.3%.
That's below what she was predicted to, 20.
And of course, we have 19.5 for DeSantis and 53.2 for President Trump.
That's 4 above a landslide.
And then DeSantis, yes, 19.5. So for those that So of course, Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, mayor, he spent so much time.
It's very very odd. I mean, right now, it looks like he may not. Right now, the Times, and I don't know how accurate they are, say that Haley has a 58% chance of being in second place, and DeSantis has a 40% chance. And I would imagine that is a calculation of what's out there.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then go back on if you want to go on. We're not going to have an ending.
Oh, yeah. So if you want, so for those of us, bear with us. We're gonna do a quick, just kind of a nice ending for Newsmax. Of course, the results are not completely known yet for the show, but our viewers will know the results when they see this program. So, Mayor, maybe you want to thank our Newsmax audience for tuning in.
Thank our Newsmax audience for listening in. I'll also leave you with a prediction, even though it's only about 3% in, right? About 3% in.
That's right.
So I'm going to give you a prediction of where this ends up. How would you like that?
Give a prediction to our Newsmax audience. Of course, we'll stay on for everybody else, but
I say that Trump ends up at 53%. DeSantis, Trump at 52 to 53 is a pretty safe bet. The toughest one is who comes out first. I came in thinking that DeSantis, because he had stronger support, might be able to overcome her. The New York Times says he can't. A fact that he owns no county, she has two, would suggest that he can't. However, the parts of the state that haven't come in, there are huge parts of the state that are rural that haven't come in at all. And he's going to outperform her in those, meaning DeSantis is.
that's right. So again, with just 3% reporting, Trump at 53.7%, Ron DeSantis 19.3%.
They're going to end up about
Nikki Haley 18.1%.
They're both going to end up about where they are
17.9.
right now. They might flip. And Haley will end up at like 19 and he'll end up at 18 or something like that. He's been a huge disappointment. I mean, even if he should squeak out second, it's such a weak second
18.6.
without dominating even a county that it's really, I mean, this is at this point, if this remains at 50% or better for Trump, it's a massive historic victory. This is 2.5 to 1 compared to any other Republican, including Ronald Reagan, in an Iowa primary. So one has to say, stop it with the idea that the Republican Party doesn't want him, even on windy, cold, freezing, deadly freezing days. They go out and vote for him in record numbers. So cut it out. And also, Mr. President Biden, some very substantial portion of this country wants this man as its president. So will you stop attacking them? At least respect their choice and stop this. That MAGA people are what are we exactly?
Basket of deplorables.
Well, that's what that comes from the other moron. But we're fascists, right? Or we're Hitler. He's Hitler. All of us are supporting Hitler. All these people in Iowa, which turn out to be more than half of the Republicans, where he was outspent 3 to 1, support him because he's Hitler. Now, I would say, even though you're demented, that shows great disrespect for the people of your country. And stop trying to put us all in jail, huh? Cut it out. Cut it out. It's not going to work, and you're going to end up not just being the worst president ever. You could be in the category of the most evil if you keep taking away people's rights. So, good start for Trump. Doubt that it's going to change very much. We'll do a wrap up. We'll do a wrap up. We'll do a wrap up on America's Mayor Confidential either late tonight or early tomorrow to give you to give you where we think it's going into New Hampshire, because Dr. Maria and Ted and I are headed to New Hampshire on Thursday, and we're going to hang out there, and we're going to give you much more in-depth coverage there than we were able to do in Iowa, because we know it so well. Dr. Maria comes from New Hampshire, very active in politics there. I ran in the primary in 2008, and I participated as a surrogate in the primary 3 times, and I supported other candidates for the Senate and Congress, and I know New Hampshire really well, not the way she does, but I know it from the point of view of a candidate. So I think we can give you a lot of insights into what's going to happen with this race. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I am going to say that Trump finishes at about 52%. Historic, massive win. Best ever by a Republican. That DeSantis passes Haley, and the way he did it is he had the more committed vote. Hers was a late coming vote, flavor of the week kind of vote. And in a storm, flavor of the week doesn't work. And Trump's vote in a storm doesn't matter. It shows you his vote is rock solid. It's much stronger than it ever has been before. And I would say the Democrats tonight are having a very bad night. But they should, because the people running the place are really bad people. And that comes from someone they want to put in jail.
That's right.
Except their prosecutor may go to jail before I do.
So Mayor,
and I'm not going to jail. So she may be going to jail by herself.
So Mayor, of course, we're now using our 2 cameras. Hello, everybody. I'm on there now.
I've been working on this for a year.
So we'll see if the ratings.
And not only
don't tank.
not only the
often.
2 cameras, we got our.
Let me know when that
board
map
here.
is up.
We've got
Yeah.
a board here that we can play with.
And I think we're going to make that monitor. They can't see the monitor. We're going to make that. We're going to post it out so I can see it.
Yeah.
too.
We're going to have a big monitor.
And so we want to thank all of you, all of your support. You've been with us now for 60. This is our 65th.
I'm feeling pretty
week.
good. I'm feeling pretty good about my early predictions, because I told you that the 2 counties that she could win was Story and Johnson. And right now, those are the 2 counties that she's leading in. In Story County, she has a rather commanding 40 to 24 to 19 lead. And in Johnson County, she's got a 41 to 28 lead. And that's it. Beyond that, let's just take one quick look at Polk County. Polk County is the capital, and it contains
The most people.
and it contains Des Moines, right? And I would say Trump a little less than the statewide numbers, but for a state capital that tends to be liberal, more liberal than the rest of the state and Democratic, and he lost it to Biden. He's beaten them 44, 29, 23. He's winning that pretty well, but only 2% in.
That's right. With just 3%.
Then you get a county like Bremer, which is a small county. He's got 81% of the vote. Potawatomi, 60% of the vote.
That's right. And so, as people are As these votes continue to come in, we'll of course be covering it live. We have still such few numbers in. We're awaiting. It looks like Nikki Haley may be speaking soon. Some other candidates. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure we'll still be on at that point. However, we'll be following the results all night. And Mayor, what should folks be? Of course, we know what we set out, told people to look for at the beginning of the night. And as these numbers are coming out, should folks still keep an eye on those same counties? I think now what people are interested in, political junkies, the race for second, right? It does appear Trump's going to win this thing pretty handily, as we predicted, as you correctly predicted. The race for second, and how DeSantis and Haley, and I guess we did. Can we bring that map up you showed us at the beginning where you marked it up for DeSantis and Haley? Let me know when that's on. I'd like to revisit that because as this, I believe Haley is in green, right? And DeSantis is in red.
No, Haley. Well, Haley's in green and blue. Those blue counties there, which are Democratic counties, those are the X's I had put down for Haley, and she is losing one of those. Polk County looks like. I mean, it looks like it's pretty much going to be Trump. He's got like a 20-point lead on her there. But Story County, she's got a fairly decent lead. And Johnson County, she's got a very big lead, which is right here. Johnson County is right there. See it? Right there.
That's right.
And those are her only two right now. That's all she has.
So keep an eye. So those of you that are going to be watching this here for the next few hours, keep an eye on those green counties. Haley
And
really
those
needs to
others,
run the
those
numbers.
reds that you see, the X reds there,
Yes.
like those two, those have gone to Trump, or they're going to Trump. And Sioux City actually has gone heavily for Trump. That's there. And Sioux, the county, has gone for Trump. And this is the only one that's close, Lyon, but it's still for Trump. And those are places you'll see. Sioux was Cruz, Lyon was Cruz.
Yep. That
Trump took. Down here, down in this little corner here, Wayne, which he's winning in big time, was Cruz. He's taking all the Cruz counties, as well as the ones he had before. Right now, it looks like he's going to lose two counties.
Wow.
Story and Johnson. And it doesn't look like there's much of a chance for DeSantis to take a county.
It does not appear that way. So, and we're still on the air. We have a big group chat. So comment below. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We like to do this once in a while. Comment below your city and state or country. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. Here I am. We've added another camera here, but we like to read off every once in a while and have that in the record where folks are tuning in to America's Mayor Live. We've done it before, and of course we've at one point, even in one episode, we listed off all the states, and we had almost all 50 states tuned in. There might have been a couple.
I mean, Story County that was supposed to be close, it's 40-24-19. So that's a pretty solid lead with 6% counted. The ones that were supposed to be close are just not close.
Not even close. So it's kind of like we talked about where a lot of folks are.
I'm trying to look for a county where DeSantis would have a chance.
So, of course, as we talked about before, Trump appears to be doing just as well, if not better, in the places he did well in 2016. And then he's almost doing better in those counties. And then, of course, taking all the counties that Cruz had won, meaning it does appear that the Christian evangelicals are with Trump this time around.
Yeah, and
Again,
not heavily enough with DeSantis. And in the one county where he's beating Trump, which is Story County, he's losing to Haley, 40 to 24 to 19. That's the state capital. That's the most liberal. So I don't see how he wins the county. I'm looking at his numbers here. He's got 40% in Sioux County, which has a heavy evangelical population, but Trump has 52%.
we have some viewers in Iowa. Fort Madison, Iowa, checking in. Ken, if you have any comments about the Iowa caucus and what you're seeing, feel free to comment below. Nebraska checking in. That's not too far. But of course, we aren't going to confuse the two. We're not Joe Biden after all. So Nebraska checking in. Kentucky, Northern Louisiana, Joliet, Illinois. A lot of Midwesterners tuning in. Upstate New York mayor is tuning in. I'm not sure how that Buffalo game ended. We'll check in with that. But we have more important things tonight. The future of the country.
Right.
Texas checking in. Denver checking in.
So now with 4% counted, DeSantis has gone up to 21.7 and Haley to 19.3 and Trump down to 51%.
Oh, wow.
It just jumped a 1/10 of a percent to 51.1.
So we'll get those numbers back up.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see exactly where he ends up when the whole thing is over.
That's right. So, of course, next week, folks can ready for our coverage live from New Hampshire. Of course, we have the expert, maybe the best person you'd want to have with you in New Hampshire with Dr. Maria. I mean, when I think of New Hampshire, I think of Dr. Maria and, of course, the primary, the first in the nation primary. So, Mayor, what should folks be? Let's say these numbers hold. Let's say Trump wins big, DeSantis second, Haley third place, and our friend Vivek in fourth. What? Kind of go through each campaign and what?
Yeah,
what
I mean,
the
best possibility for Trump is if it ends right where it is now. Right where it is now. He's won over 50%. He's won the biggest victory by a Republican by 2-1 ever in the history of the Iowa caucuses, which tend to be ornery as hell. Haley, who was supposed to be the new, flavor of the month and the one who's going to beat him, gets defeated by DeSantis and loses whatever momentum she has going into New Hampshire. And DeSantis has no votes in New Hampshire. I mean, he was behind Christie at one point and is actively disliked in New Hampshire. I mean, they don't like him. So Haley coming in third here will slow her down. I mean, going into tonight, the only chance anyone had in New Hampshire, I don't think of winning, but of making a showing that could dent Trump's inevitability was Haley. So if she takes a loss tonight, if she underperforms expectations, remember the expectations were for her to beat DeSantis by 4 points. She's now losing to him by 2. So if that happens, then the clear winner is Trump of everything. I mean, he largely because DeSantis is going to have no chance in New Hampshire, and he's certainly going to have no chance in South Carolina, where Haley was the governor and Trump is leading her. So the only thing this doesn't do is if DeSantis comes in second, it probably doesn't get him out of the campaign. He probably falsely thinks he has a chance and wants to hang on for Florida, although he'll lose 2 in a row. As I said, he has no chance to catch him in New Hampshire, and her chances are going to be diminished by his defeating her if that happens. So that's my that's my
kind of
prediction for
analysis.
right now. Right.
And what about our friend Vivek? I guess he's a respectful 7-8%, but not necessarily a breakout number. I do feel that he'll hang in there through New Hampshire, right? I don't see him. There's no reason for him to. I mean, no new reason, right? After the results
There's
tonight,
no reason for him to stay in, and there's no reason for him to stay out.
and of course, yeah,
He has become irrelevant. I'm sorry. I mean, he's become irrelevant.
Hey, I like Vivek.
I know you like Vivek. I like Vivek too, but he's become a pest. And I mean, Trump had to slap him around the other day, and he accepted it. But I mean, by staying in too long, he's hurt himself. He should have, and he hurt himself by being a wise ass in the debates.
And so
he'll be remembered that way.
And so
that's why his number went down to single digits.
And so on that note, we're still waiting more numbers to come in. We're about an hour into the results starting to trickle in. Still a lot outstanding. What are you going to be watching, Mayor, as we continue here?
My interest is the DeSantis-Haley situation, because it really does tell us, is there going to be much of a race going forward? If it remains, again, as I say, if it remains the way it is, with DeSantis coming in number 2 and her defying expectations, disappointing people, it's going to slow, if not stop, her momentum. And DeSantis has no prayer in New Hampshire or South Carolina. So you don't see DeSantis again until Florida. And I know what that's like. When you get shut out of 2 in a row, they forget you. So I would say, if Trump remains above 50, you could say he's got a 98% chance of getting the nomination no matter what they do. If Trump remains above 50 and DeSantis wins, the 98 goes to 99. Because there's no road for DeSantis to build on this. And there's nothing to build on. Right now, he's losing by 30 points. I mean, you don't get nominated for president losing by 30 points. When you've spent 3 times more than your opponent and spent 10 times more time there. So
we'll keep watching closely, and maybe we'll hop on with stay tuned either late tonight or early tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe over to X for the Mayor's. We're not like some other folks. We're gonna actually wait for the results.
Oh yeah.
So our reaction is authentic, and we'll get something out. But you'll want to subscribe to the Mayor right over on X. If you're watching on X, just hit that purple.
I mean, there's going to be
button.
A lot of things coming up and a lot of interviews. And today, before the primary, early this morning, we did a survey for you, so you'd be prepared. So you'd be prepared for the primary. We'll continue to do that. We'll be particularly able to supply you with confidential information with regard to the New Hampshire primary. So I'd really suggest joining up. Hit subscribe and become a member of America's Mayor Confidential. Thank you. And this is a good start. I mean, I'm happy with the start. Whatever happens here now is more a question of, does this extend a little bit longer because DeSantis comes in number 2? No, it probably shortens it if DeSantis comes in number 2, because it really takes away any momentum that Haley had. And probably Trump will win the next, 3 primaries. And he's beating him badly in Florida. All you had to do was see Rubio's endorsement yesterday to figure that out. And this will mean a lot more endorsements too. They'll all come aboard. Oh, Mr. President, I always was on your side. I was always rooting for you. I wonder how the head of the Republican Party in Iowa feels today, when he was explaining yesterday what a good chance he thought Haley had. hell of a political prognosticator. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. This could mean one or two more indictments, because that would be the Democrat answer to what's the Democratic strategy to deal with such a landslide victory by Trump?
That's right.
For what? Who cares? We never cared. Who cares?
That's right. That's right. And of course, hit that subscribe button on Twitter. That allows us, as you can see, to kind of expand and grow our program. We're now operating with multiple cameras from multiple angles. So,
you know, Dr. Maria will pay very little attention to the Iowa caucuses because the people in New Hampshire are very stuck up about that. But I was going to ask her, where are the diners better? They're showing a diner on one of the TV stations. The diners are fabulous in New Hampshire. I do have to say that. You know why? They have a lot of Greeks in New Hampshire, and nobody runs diners like the Greek people. It used to be when Greeks were poor, now they're all rich. They owned all the diners, and that's what made them rich. And I used to say that to own a diner in New York, you had to be Greek. Food was terrific. Terrific. The Neptune Diner is still there. Ever want to go with me? Let me know.
yeah, comment
Okay?
below. We'll
And
see
get
you
it
in
through-
New Hampshire.
get-
We'll have more info.
Hit
Yeah,
subscribe, confidential, and we'll give you more information like that.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
We'll be in
become
New
an
Hampshire.
expert on New York and New Hampshire.
That's right. And so we'll be in
And maybe even part of Florida now. We're getting pretty good on Florida.
That's right. We we've got a good little network down there, Mayor.
Yeah.
And so hello to all of our friends tuning in from.
So how soon will it
Florida.
be that DeSantis returns to being governor? About 2 weeks?
That's my question. Maybe, why go to New Hampshire? I mean, so he comes into, let's say he gets a distant second here. Where's the path forward for him? New Hampshire, he's polling in like 7th place.
It's almost cruel.
So he's got a job. He was reelected governor.
It's cruel. He should come in third and put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
But it is good for Trump if he comes in second, because it buries Haley a little. And she's the only one who has a chance to challenge him. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back. We'll be back definitely tomorrow, but we're going to be back on. So if you want to keep checking on X and hit subscribe, we'll do some updates on there too to leave them for you for the morning. Okay. So God bless you. Thank you for sticking with us. And I feel better now that we're on our way, that it's gotten started. It's like we've waited so long, and it has seemed so long that we have to live under this dictatorship. And now we got our chance to to do something about it. So God willing, we're going to do it. Thank you. God bless the people of Iowa for braving the weather tonight and taking a risk with your health and maybe with your life to participate in the most important thing in democracy, voting. And the thing that the Democrats, in addition to all of the other rights of ours that they have trashed and destroyed, have attempted to destroy in our country, but we're going to get it back. God bless America. Our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able